All the family members. I got Casey here with me. We cuddling. Maybe not the best angle, but I needed to involve Casey in this because it's his story. Oh no, Kimmy, don't be jealous. There's room for you on the couch too. Come over here. Come here. Come sit with Mom. Anyway, I want to talk to you today about something that has kind of been building in the background of my life for, well, a pretty long time. But the rate in which it's occurring is kind of gotten a lot more rapid lately. And it got me thinking that this is maybe a topic that is relevant to not just me, and that I might want to share with you some of what's going on with Casey and his end of life journey that we're on right now. So let me give you a little background here. Casey Bear, he's a 15-year-old Brittany. Used to be called Brittany Spaniel. A lot of people still call that Brittany Spaniel, but in America, he's just Brittany. He is a retired hunting dog. I've known him, Bear. I've known him since he was 2 days old. My dad bred Brittany's, and he was one of the litters, and he was sold to my brother. And so I've been his auntie for a very long time, and I love him very dearly, and I'm glad that he got to come retire with me. When he was younger, I was roommates with his dad for a while, and so we got to be very bonded. And then now he gets to spend his golden years with me too, which is quite a blessing, I'd say. So, but there's a cost. There's a cost to having pets, and that's really what this video is about. It's about, despite all the joy that they bring us, there's an inevitable pain that we must suffer, because their lives are much shorter than ours, right? Oh, Bear. Come cuddle. Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading something that said for dogs with congestive heart failure like he has, that being upright sometimes can help. So that's why I did that. I'm sorry. Probably didn't help the audio very much, but we can't have the joy of their company without the devastation of their parting. And some of the literature that I read up to making this video, and I'm going to include some resources for people who are going through similar things in the description below, said that people would often say that a death of a pet was harder for them to deal with than the death of even a parent sometimes. And while that might sound, pretty hyperbolic, I could see situations where that would be true. I mean, they are with you all the time. If you're like me, and I was working from home even when I was working, my pets are literally with me every minute. And, often when I'd leave the house, they go with me, So, yeah, I could understand how you could be so bonded to a pet that it would be harder to deal with that disruption of their loss, It's it's just hard because they're just sweet little babies, and it does feel very tragic and wrong for them to not be around anymore. And I've gone through that a lot. My dad, again, he bred hunting dogs. We always had at least a half dozen dogs at any time, and we didn't really deal with the end of their lives very often because my dad would train them, and then as they were not his number one hunting dog anymore, as they kind of fell off, somebody else would trade some gun for him, or something else. There would always be some sort of like little barter system, or he would always retire his hunting dogs to somebody else, who would love to have a dog that he trained, but that just wasn't something that they could afford, or Dad didn't really have the time to train. He was a school teacher. This is just like a side hustle for him. So, it does seem to help having you upright, doesn't it? That's good. It's really hard to know when's the right time to let them go. And some of the literature that I read on this said that there's been a lot of times when people, especially first-time pet owners, losing a pet for the first time, ended up having some regret in regards to that. Let me get you a little further away from my microphone. Oh, he's such a sweetie pie, though, isn't he? Look at him. Angel baby. And it is hard. It's hard because there's not a firm line a lot of the time. You know, it would be nice if when they got to the point where they didn't have quality of life anymore, they just fall asleep and not wake up. And all summer long, that's kind of what I was worried would happen with him, because I knew that he was coughing more and showing more symptoms. But, you know, I didn't really think about the fact that it would get to a point where it was just lingering, and it was awful, and it was clear that there was a lot of suffering. And he isn't always suffering. Look at him. Do you think he looks like he's suffering right now? I don't think he is, you know. But there's other times when he certainly is. He just seems like he can't get comfortable, and he'll cough and wheeze and gasp for breath. And how do you look at some little baby that you've loved all of his life, 15 years, and say, you should have to continue going through this because I'm not ready to let go of you? I don't get to ask him what he wants. Right now, my dad is also going through heart problems. He's going to have heart surgery a week from today. And in the course of this, it's been made very clear from his reaction and behavior to things that he's not the kind of person who would want to extend his life as long as possible. Damn the consequences, damn the loss of quality to his life, you know? I don't know, is Casey like that or is he not? I have to make that decision for him. And it's a hard responsibility to take on and to accept. When Casey's brother Rocky passed away a few years back, he had been hit by a car. He was our little escape artist, right? And he lost a leg, and his remaining front leg broke. And we knew he hated going to the vet. It was so horrible and just made him so scared, and he was just, it was not fair to him to try to come up with some way to extend his life at the expense of making him go through the kind of things he went through when we tried to save his life the first time. And though we succeeded, though I'm glad that we got those remaining years, he did have some quality of life after that. It just was not clear that that would be the case, even if we fought as hard as we could. And I held him in my arms, and I looked into his eyes, and till he closed his eyes for the very last time. And it was hard. But it makes me proud that I was able to give him that. And whatever Casey needs, I want to give him that too. Hey, good boy. Yeah, he's probably going to have to walk around That's what he's been doing a lot lately. He'll just get uncomfortable like this and just walk around. I wasn't sure how I'd handle it. Like, literally. I'm disabled, I can't drive. So I reached out to a friend, and she agreed to take me when it's time. Like me, she said, I'll probably cry a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I understand. And my friend Amaris, the one who made me this lovely custom snowy egret hat, one of the kind, most beautiful hat in the world, she said she'd help me somewhat towards the cost, the vet cost, so that's really nice too. I think that's kind of a lesson that I kind of took from this is when you have a situation like this, when your beloved baby is going down and going down fast and you can see it and you know it's very likely you're going to have to intervene. It's okay. It's a good thing to reach out to your friends and your family and give them a chance to support you. And I think it's kind of a good thing to grieve while he's still here, while I still have the option of picking him up and giving him a good cuddle. He's so precious to me, you know? I deeply believe that humans are symbiotic organisms, not just in the fact that we wouldn't be able to live without, like, our microbiome in our gut, or, you know, the microbiome everywhere on our bodies. I think that we have a deep symbiotic relationship with domesticated animals, that we adapted them to suit our needs, but in doing so, they've also adapted us to suit their needs. And it is a very beneficial relationship on both sides. I tried once to live without any pets. I had a guinea pig, so I guess that's still not true, but without a dog or a cat for a while. The first time I moved to Florida, and it was some of the most miserable time of my life. I need pets for my mental health, and with that being the case, I have to be able to step up when it's time. I have to be able to make those hard choices. My kitty cat, Millie, she was another retiree from my brother's household. I loved her. She was one of those cats that was very hateful, but you couldn't help but love her. And she was a long hair, black, fluffy cat. She had one white toe. And she would come and sit right underneath your chin and just purr. But boy, don't try to pick her up. Don't try to do anything to her. Just let her come to you. That kind of cat. And for, I don't even know how long it was, maybe a year or more, she was having issues where she would toilet in the bathtub. And it was often, you know, not normal fecal matter. I hate talking about that kind of stuff, but, you know. And for months, every time that I would find that, I would just clean it up, maybe be a little annoyed, but go, well, you got a senior cat, what you gonna do? It didn't occur to me until after my mom was like, I think it's time. And I really thought about it, how uncomfortable she must have been those last few months of her life. And being belly sick all the time and not really being able to explain that to her caretakers, and us not really being able to do anything for her. And I think I do with her. I feel some regret that we didn't make that hard decision sooner. She did have quality of life, but she also had a lot of pain and discomfort, and she didn't understand why, and I hate that for her, you know? Casey just came and curled up at my feet. Oh, man. I have lots of beds and blankets and stuff all over the house, so he has places to roll around and curl up and lay down, plop down whenever he needs to. I'm able to try to give him some level of comfort. You know, he's getting like extra treats. He loves cat food, so I gave him cat food tonight. He was so happy. But it's coming. I'm going to have to make that decision. And I found out there's a lot of different options for people who are in situations like mine. After I talked to my friend, I found there are mobile vet services in a lot of places that you can actually have someone come and do an in-house euthanasia if necessary. If you're in a situation like mine where you might not have it might not be very easy for you to get your beloved little baby pet to a vet at the time that they need it, that's an option, which is good to know. I also got information about what you would do after your beloved pet passes away, which, you know, it's hard to talk about the practical mechanics of dealing with the deceased body of a pet, but it's something that's good to think about. It's good to know in advance what you would do if you were in a situation where you had to deal with that. If I went to sleep, woke up tomorrow morning, and he had passed away overnight, it's at least now I know, okay, the first step would be this, the second step would be that. You know, for example, they say one thing you can do is you can put the body on like cool concrete if you don't have the space in like a refrigerator or a freezer or large enough cooler or something. And he's a relatively large dog, so that, I mean, it would be hard to find room. You know, he's not like a cat, you know. So, you know, I have a garage. I don't have a car anymore. The concrete's nice and cool in there. That's my contingency plan, you know. And, oh my gosh, I cried really, really hard while I thought that through. I'll tell you this truth. But at least I know, you know. I have a little less uncertainty in a situation where things are very uncertain. You know, I have considered what I would want, whether I'd want him to be buried or cremated. His brother Rocky was cremated, and we took some of his ashes home to West Virginia and left them on the farm where almost all of our other pets have been laid to rest. So it would be nice to have that option. But we do also, Millie is buried out back by the edge of the lake. Maybe that's where he would want to be. You know, I don't, he doesn't know. He's a dog. What do I want? That's what matters, I guess. I don't know. This is definitely a very unfocused video, I'm sure. But I just think it's a subject that pet owners don't talk about enough. Especially given that it's just a inevitable reality that we'll all deal with. Losing them is the price of loving them. Their love is unconditional, but it does come with a price. And it's important for us to be gentle stewards, caring, thinking about what they need and they want, and not just what we want. Again, I'll have a lot more resources in the description. That'll have actual, probably more focused information. Both what I found about end of life care for pets in general, and also for dogs with congestive heart failure, like Casey. Apparently, from what I read, doesn't seem like that's the most common um, reason that people kind of find themselves in this situation. It usually is because dogs have trouble with mobility or toileting, which he doesn't. So, that's what a lot of people would use for the signs that it's time. But in the absence of that, there can certainly be very important signs we have to look for. And being able to breathe is certainly one of them. So, thank you, family members, for coming along with me on this awkward journey. The doggies and I are very appreciative of everyone's time and attention. There's Kimmy, and there's Cakey, see? He has a squishmallow. Like, that is probably like a $60 thing. He's just laying on it like, yep, this is my place. He is a little spoiled, and I love that for him. Well, family members, I hope you take care of yourselves and have a wonderful day. Bye.